I'm fast forwarding a lot of stuff.
What was the ratings?
997,000. And that's problematic. There was they were not up against baseball, the playoffs.
Right, and they had a couple strong matches.
Yeah, and it's kind of the ratings are down. But I'm telling you, bro, it's like me. Sometimes when I go to work, okay, when AEW was like, I was very interested in it. I would get to work on Wednesday because it's a slow night for me, and I clock the girls in from 7:45 to 8 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, I would just turn it on because like I'm kind of like got downtime, bro. I'd forgotten it was on. I recorded and tape like, I forgot to watch AEW tonight, so I watched it later, like 1 o'clock in the morning later on. But it's like they're not giving me stuff that's very, ever since the Punks thing went down and they didn't do anything, I just have not been compelled with this stuff at all. Not really. It's like they're kind of like, let's just talk about it, okay? But the first match is Jericho and Daniel Garcia against Claudio and Wheeler Utah,
right? And
it was where they ended up with Daniel Garcia out of that long story that they did with him and stuff and things he's right back where he started, and it's like this didn't elevate him in my opinion at all. Like he's back where he was, after doing this long storyline, and so is Wheeler Utah. And Claudio and then Jericho. This is kind of weird, but Jericho beat Claudio for the title. Bro,
right,
it's
so
like
are they going to wrestle again?
I mean, they should. Right. How can you not spin a story here? Like they're doing everything but giving the guy a rematch. Right. It's like he needs to get a rematch because they're still fighting these guys and everything. He doesn't want to be the Ring of Honor champion anymore. It's like kind of weird. But they do this was a goofy spot. Okay, at the end, Claudio power bombs Jericho. And it looks around, and he's got him in position for the swing. So he picks his legs up for the swing, okay? What's his name? Garcia jumps up on his back, and it's like Claudio's not even holding him on his back. Just Garcia just climbed on his back.
Yeah.
And is holding himself on his back.
Right.
And they do the spin, and I'm like if you're watching this, I'm like, what on earth is Daniel Garcia doing? This was like the weirdest looking. It's like, okay, we're gonna do a stunt here. Well, we're gonna do an acrobatic thing where we're gonna spin us around, but I'm gonna jump up on you and just and hold on and spin me around, which is exactly what happened. It was a very weird spot, and it led to the finish, and they pinned him. And it's like I laughed out loud at that. I thought that was a funny spot. What did you think when you saw that?
It was a funny spot. Yeah, it was a funny spot. Bro, I'm glad they remember Claudio's still on the roster. I mean, it was like they pushed him really hard, and then he disappeared, and now he came back, and he got a victory. And I thought it was weird that they gave Utah the hot tag when Claudio has way more fire, bro. Did you see that spot he did outside? He just beat the out of everybody. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And like I said before, bro, Utah's over with the fans. Obviously, they're going with this guy. I don't see him as a star. Maybe one day he will be. He doesn't come off as one. He doesn't act like one. He doesn't command the ring like one. He just, to me, is like a guy that's being kind of forced down your throat. But the people do like him.
Right. So after the match, Jericho Garcia recovers with the Jericho Appreciation Society. So backstage, Renee Paquette.
Oh wait, at Disco, you're not going to comment on the fact that Jericho will face a former Ring of Honor champion next week? I thought you'd be way into that.
Who's he facing next week?
It could be any former Ring of Honor champion. It could be Low Key. It could be Davey Richards. It could be Joe.
Bro,
okay, let me just say,
I don't know why they're promoting that stuff for
because they're trying to get a TV deal. Okay, Okay, let me just say this right now, bro.
Could be homicide.
There's way too many people in the society. Okay, that's number one. I mean, what's Jake Hager's job, to wear the purple hat? I mean, what the
yeah.
Anna Jay's miscast like she was in the Dork Order. She just some hot chick standing there trying to act mean. She's miscast again, bro. They could do so much more with her. They need to take her the out of that. I don't know why Tay doesn't wrestle other women. Seems because she can go. She seems like she only does Sammy, but too many people in the society, I think.
Yeah. So next was hang on a minute. I got to do something here. Give me a minute, right?
Yep. What do you think of that match, Joe?
I mean, the opener, I always like Jericho and Cesaro's stuff. I like the how they found their way into that drop kick spot where Cesaro jumped over the ropes to go after Hager, and then Jericho does the jump to the second and the drop kicks him off the apron. I thought that was good. And
he actually stole that move from me.
The drop kick off the second? Nice.
Yeah. I would like to know what he would have to say to that. Because I never saw him do it before I did it.
That's nice.
All right, so next we go backstage, and we got Bryan Danielson's with Renee Paquette, and he's upset that he lost.
Bro, that's another thing. Remember when you asked me who I watch on the show? Bryan Danielson was a guy I used to turn on to watch, and now I don't care about him.
Yeah, like right after he first jumped.
That's sad.
Yeah.
He expressed frustration at his recent losses and the betrayal of Daniel Garcia, and he spoke about Wheeler Utah talking back to him. And then Wheeler walked up and told him he was happy that he was finally angry. Utah said he was a grown-ass man, not a child, and Bryan had a problem. They could sort it out like men. Claudio intervened and said once Danielson was done with his match with Guevara, they would all sit down and sort it out. All right, so they got.
Bro, let me just say, this guy can grow a beard and say he's a grown-ass man. He's not a believable tough guy. He just isn't. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think Brock Lesnar and then Jimmy Utah. You know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
Wheeler Utah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they did a vignette that showed the Elite, and then they were like doing the thing where like they disappeared.
How weird was that?
So, yeah. Well, they were back last week backstage.
Oh, they
Or
were?
last night. Yeah. So
I
they're
didn't know
coming back soon. Yeah.
Well,
It's November. It's going to be November. Didn't you say they were suspended till November? Is what the story you heard?
I didn't say that. Yeah.
well,
I think that's what Kenny Omega. You said Kenny Omega told you that.
No, not November. He said, I can't send you a video while I'm.
yeah, November was the rumor, though, Dion.
Yeah. November, oh, it's a rumor.
Yeah, it wasn't from me.
right, so-
What do you call it? There was, well, first off, this is all based off that backstage fight. Ace Steel got released. Not that matters to you guys or anybody, but there was new news about the fight. Did you hear about the news?
What about the teeth getting knocked out for
the dog?
Supposedly he's bull. Yeah, Dave said it's all BS, though. Supposedly.
Well, but let's analyze that. Whose side was Dave going to take in a CM Punk versus the Elite issue? Wouldn't he take the? I mean, the Elite are his boys. I'm not casting any aspersions, but.
I don't know. All right, so next is backstage.
No sympathy
Jericho
for Larry the dog. Unbelievable.
Backstage, Jericho Appreciation Society was ticked off. Jericho said Claudio cheated because there was a bat in the ring when he won the match. Garcia called him the Blackpool Cheaters Club. Jericho made an open challenge for next week against any former Ring of Honor champion. Then Guevara piped up and said he would put on a show like no one has ever seen later on, and he would beat Daniel Bryan again. It's like I said, bro, this is not, they do these promos, and they're kind of just generic, right. So then we do a Swerve in Our Glory against Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. This was a very weird match because, Keith Lee came out there and was wrestling like a big oaf, kind of like, like he's got. Did you see like he did like he's big and slow? But then all of a sudden he does a leapfrog drop down.
Yeah.
So,
The place went nuts.
Right, yeah. And bro, I don't care. They listen to the show and everything. Bro, this was not good psychology. Okay, by the Hardwood and those guys. Bro, there's no way. Like that spot where Dax had him up or had him up in the buckle to give him the suplex off the second off the top turnbuckle, right? Yeah. And they were trying to make it like he eventually just gave it to him. It's like, why is Lee taking that bump? There's no way that guy should be able to suplex him from the top. It's like, so I don't know. They did a couple weird spots here. There was bad.
The problem is, you say there's no way he can do it, and then he does it. So there is.
Yeah, but the guy, but it's like it doesn't look believable. Like I don't. Right. It's just I don't know. They should have never. Like Keith Lee leaves his feet too easily. Sometimes remember Abyss used to do that a lot.
We know that, yeah, right, because he's like a big man in a small man's body.
Right, exactly. But this was decent. But I didn't really like the psychology. But at the end, FTR gets screwed because he gets what's his name is getting attacked at ringside by the Gun Club.
Guns. Yeah.
And and they I'm sorry, but they look like idiots here. They gave up their number one contender spot that they hadn't had a match in they haven't had a title. They've been number one contenders for months. They got all these belts. They put the spot up against these guys for no reason whatsoever, and then they lost. So now they're literally like, or just, I don't know why they're doing this. Why they're keeping them away from the tag titles for so long? They should be in the mix for the tag titles, like doing an angle with the Acclaim or whoever, like every week, and they're not.
You're 100% right. I think they really like the Acclaim. and they don't want to take the titles off of them. And I think they know that if they're in a match, the people are going to be with FTR.
Right. Yeah. So,
and they don't want that.
Right.
Yeah.
So afterwards, the Guns tried to jump FTR in the ring, but
real talk, the Claim doesn't even really need the titles. They're over.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this again. You have yet to agree or disagree with me on this, so I'd like to hear your thoughts. Billy Gunn does not, in any way, shape, or form, fit in with the Acclaimed. Why is that still?
I don't know. It's just very weird. Yeah. All right, so backstage, Renee Paquette goes to interview Saraya, but Brooke Baker walks up and they just start yelling at each other and they get separated. So it's kind of, I don't know. So then Renee Paquette is back out again, and she stands on the stage and welcomes MJF. He schmoozed with the crowd for Forbidden Nest. There were any devil worshippers in the house, and Renee asked him how he felt heading into a monumental match against Jon Moxley. He did a pretty funny Moxley impersonation that ended with Moxley threatening to gargle his piss. He then called Moxley mid and then called William Regal a flea-ridden rat. And MJF said Regal got under his skin when he inferred that MJF couldn't beat Moxley without help or his dynamite diamond ring. He then made him promise that when he defeats Jon Moxley full gear, he wouldn't need his ring. MJF said all he needs to defeat Moxley is a grudge, and he smashed all of his into a chip and placed it on his shoulder. He said he would take off that chip and shove it down Regal and Moxley's throats at full gear, and MJF started to say he's a generational talent, but Stokely Hathaway walks out.
Woo!
But I don't know if they realize that when with MJF even like being involved with these guys brings him down. Like
100%.
Okay, and it absolutely does. He said he knew Moxley. Stokely said he knew he wanted Moxley at 100%, but MJF slapped the mic out of his hand, then told Stokely he wasn't to touch Moxley or he'd be fired. MJF said he needed Moxley at 100%, so Regal and his weird fanboys have no excuses. He then performed his catchphrase and walked off. And that was just And the Stokely Hathaway guy just came out like looking like he had his dad's sweater on. Just he's a very underwhelming character, and I don't know why they're making him like putting him in the top mix here.
It's funny because he was, and you say what you say about transferring from the Indies to TV, but he was a cult favorite on the Indies and then in NXT even as a manager and a commentator.
Bro, he's brutal.
Yeah, he's
been there like a year, and I have yet to see anything where I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
Right.
Or like I want to boo the guy, or even like it's not like it's like
nothing. Well, he means
it
nothing.
Doesn't generate a lot of heat or right.
Okay, here's a better question. Whose friend is he?
Well, he's worked with MJF. I worked with MJF on the Indies a lot. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody buddy systems up their friends, and you got a lot of people on the show that shouldn't even be on the show.
Yeah. So next is Kingdom. There's a package for the Kingdom, Wardlow, and Samoa Joe. They're still calling them. The announcers still call them War Joe.
That's Joe, dude. What a brutal name.
So then, Wardlow.
Joe's
and Samoa...
way too cool for that. So's Wardlow. I can't believe one of the two hasn't said what a whack name.
Yeah. So then they then they're talking about this very underwhelming promo segment that they set up a match on Friday that nobody's going to care about. Okay. This is what they do constantly with these packages. Okay, so next, Sammy Guevara made his entrance with Tay Mello, and they made out on the stage.
Did you already go over the MJF one?
Yeah.
I already said, yeah. What do you? Oh, yeah. So what do you think about his promo?
I thought it was hilarious when the Renee, that's her name, Paquette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She gets you can't say with all due respect and then say something insulting like that, and then he goes with all due respect, shut your mouth, bro, and the place popped.
Right. Well, he's very talented on the mic.
Got him.
It's like he's must-see TV on the show.
Here's the other thing, bro. Okay, wait. Okay, he is very talented. We're big fans of his, and he's had no problem putting us over either because talent recognizes talent. Boom. And so I don't know why he thinks anybody gives a fuck about his diamond ring. To me, that's not a big deal and should not be in any way, shape, or form the focus of this. That, I'm not going to use my diamond ring because I can show you I can beat you without it. What type of is that?
Yeah.
That's a selling point to get you to, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. It's just,
Do you understand that?
Yeah. It's just, I don't get it.
Well, he's used it to win matches, basically. And there's, you wouldn't win unless you use the ring to knock somebody out,
I mean.
What a
thin
pretense for a,
right.
For a
story. Like that's part of your story. Like,
come on.
Okay, so next is Bryan Danielson against Sammy, and basically Brian chokes him out for the win. And you know what? A move I do not like. I do not like the Spanish Fly.
Right.
The Spanish Fly, when it happens, you don't know who's giving who the move, and who's supposed to be hurt.
Well, the guy that lands on his back is the one.
But it's done so fast that it's like it looks like I don't know. It's just
one guy's
weird,
landing on top of the other. What's the ascertain?
Like how they get there is just weird.
They do a backflip.
Look at it this way, Di. It's just Canyon's flatliner. Boom. Okay, except it's from the top rope with a flip.
Yeah.
So the guy landing on his back's giving the move.
Too much cooperation needed to do that, to be honest with you. So he chokes him out. So Sammy lost. So the Jericho Appreciation side, he's getting beat up today. After the match, do you got any comment about this? I fast forwarded through most of this.
I thought it was a good match, and I thought Danny.
Oh, let me tell you something.
Sammy.
There was a spot at the end though where Sammy had Brian Danielson down on the ground and was trying to punch him in the head.
Right.
But he was hitting him with the inside of his forearm on the side of the head. Like
right.
it wasn't like a good like you're punching down on the guy in the head. It's just, I don't know. Sammy doesn't throw good punches. After the match, Excalibur tossed backstage to our boys, your boy Ray Phoenix and our favorite Alex Abrahantes, who were with Renee Paquette. They talked about Penta defeating Mox and become a double champ, and Phoenix becoming the All Atlantic champion.
Nice.
So they were interrupted by Christian Luchasaurus. I'm going to give you an alternate booking after we talk about this show, okay? Who said the Luchasaurus deserved a shot at the All Atlantic Championship. Orange Cassidy walked in the frame and apparently booked a triple threat title match for next week's show, okay? You got any comment about that segment? That little... Because I am not a fan of Luchasaurus.
Adds nothing to Ray Phoenix, and I get mad every time I see them together because, like, why is this guy with him? He's always smiling like a male cheerleader type thing, like a geek. Nice guy. I've met him before. I hate to destroy him, but he adds nothing to Phoenix, bro. Like, really nothing.
Right. So then, okay, so this was why I did not like it, all right? Bro, this is how you get guys over, okay? Christian and Luchasaurus are hot. Them wanting the All Atlantic Championship? That's like, well, why on earth would Christian want the All Atlantic Championship?
Because I think Christian said he's trying to collect belts, right?
Bro, but that's fine.
So you start at the bottom.
But he should be like immediately like, okay, I got a guy, I want the belt.
Yeah, but I guess they're starting at the bottom. They're going to collect them one by one, probably,
whatever.
Or something. That's what I'm.
I've got a better idea. Okay, we'll talk about it at the end here. Okay, so then next we do Reho versus Jamie Hayter. I watched this match from start to finish. I do not get Reho. She absolutely does not look like a realistic performer that is any type of threat to injure or defeat like somebody like Jamie Hayter's size. She is super skinny too. You see how small she is?
Bro, here's the
She's
problem.
She's like a stick.
I know. And I said that last week. And here's the problem. She looks like, you know those little Miss USA pageant where like the little girls drip?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
And like that.
Oh, like the little Miss.
13-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what she looks like one of those little girls, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to play dress up and trying to be adult. She's very thin. Her physicality is not enough for you to believe that she's tough at all. Okay, she has no charisma. She can't cut a promo. We know nothing really about her. She doesn't interact with the crowd, much like Toni Storm. She doesn't command the ring, much like Toni Storm. And then you think, all right, if it's somebody that small, she'd have to be great, like a Rey Mysterio was when he first started. But she isn't. She doesn't do anything out of this world, you know?
Right.
I do not know what is the fixation with her.
Hey, just a heads up for both of you guys. I just sent Spreaker and Fight Camp to your PayPals.
All right. So next is Renee Paquette interviews Eddie Kingston backstage. This is weird. She said his friends are concerned about him and asked how he's doing. Was there anything before this that led to this, like him being like, or is this just...
Not that I remember.
He said, don't worry about me.
Yeah, he blew off the question, smiled, even though you could tell he was boiling mad. And Eddie changed the subject and asked about Moxley's match. He said it's going to be tough because Penta has mucho money, but he thinks Johnny has it. And Eddie told everyone else to leave him alone. So I don't... this was interesting because I don't know what, Right. Now I want to know what's going to happen. If this was just a standalone interview and there's no storyline behind it or going forward, I'd like
there
to
might be something behind it. You're right.
Right.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So then the best vignette they did on the show is Darby Allin.
This
and
was
he
great.
basically told the story why Sting hasn't been around for a while. And he said he told Sting he wasn't happy. He wanted to crawl into a hole and be by himself. Sting told him he couldn't do that because he's Darby Allin, the guy who brought him out of retirement. Then Darby said he understood what Sting meant and challenged Jay Lethal's friend to show up on Dynamite. But basically, he talked about in this promo how he's his own, he said next week and tell him what his biggest weakness is his face. And Allin said he already knows his biggest weakness. It's him, and he's been walking on thin ice his whole life. So this is actually pretty good promo by Darby. And then then they go to Lethal and Dutt, and they accept the match and told him be careful. And they should have made comment about Darby Allin being his own worst enemy and stuff and everything.
And here's the other thing. So. As sharp as Sanjay is, our boy, shout out the player from the Himalaya. What is the deal with Singh the Giant? Because the guy never does anything. He's always smiling.
Yeah, never says anything.
Like a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's not menacing. He hasn't done. Bro, he's been there for months and he does absolutely nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so then we go to Moxley and Penta for the AEW World Championship. I fast forwarded to the end because there was no way Penta was winning this match, and everybody knew that. He had 0%.
Right.
And the finish I was not a fan of the finish. Penta went to do a springboard something. It didn't even look like he was. It looks like he was doing a springboard to land into Moxley's move that he was going to give him. They should have done a bigger, more spectacular miss into because Penta could do some crazy stuff. This was a weird finish. He springboard, turned around. Moxley kicked him in the belly, gave him two of the what do you call it? It's the paradigm shifts and beat him, or the paradigm shift and the Death Rider. I guess they're two different moves or something. Yeah, I don't know. But then he just beat him 13 minutes. But I'm sure Konnan probably watched it. It was decent. But so after the match, this is the main event on the show, by the way, the main event angle. The main event angle is Jon Moxley and MJF, right? So the Firm runs down.
The Firm.
And they start they attack Jon Moxley. So Hathaway follows shortly thereafter, and the Blackpool Combat Club was shown locked in their personal room backstage. So they chained the thing so the Blackpool Combat Club couldn't come out. By the way, what happened to them going backstage, and I thought we'd see a vignette where they're sorting out their problem. Remember then Claudio said, we're going to go back after this, we're going to go sort this out.
Right.
That should have been a vignette. But I guess they were in the room sorting. They locked them all in there. MJF teasing. And that would have been a good vignette to do, because you could have gotten Moxley involved in the conversation, and he's getting distracted before his match with Penta, and they could have maybe sold hey, maybe Moxley might lose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. So they missed some storytelling here, which they could have done. Now that I think about it, right? So after the match, Morrissey, Page, Moriarty, Gunn, and they all write him down. They beat him up. MJF comes out and he's teasing coming to the ring, and kind of it looked a little hokey, overacting here the way he was doing it. It's only the only bad thing I saw him do. So then he popped back out, walked to the ring. He told Stokely Hathaway his fiver, and Stokely smiled. Then Morrissey comes and gives him a kick with a slap on the thigh, which I thought looked ridiculous. And then they beat down MJF, and they pick him up and they choke slam him through the table. Okay, so they leave these guys laying. Bro, this had zero heat from the crowd. And I think the crowd kind of had the same feeling that we do, is like, why are these guys involved? Why is this faction involved in this? That's what I got out of it, because I'm looking. It's like, why on earth is this crew now in the main event angle with Lee Moriarty and these guys, and stuff? So my alternate booking, bro, how much better would this stuff have been if you replaced the Firm with Christian and Luchasaurus doing this stuff? I think that'd be a far better angle. If Luchasaurus went and laid both these guys, when after the match he comes and chokeslams Moxley, then MJF comes, I don't know. This is a miscasting for me, but by taking these guys, the Firm, who've been put together, 3 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden they're in the main event angle here, and the Stokely Hathaway guys in the main event angle. I don't get it. But what do you think?
I thought the Penta Moxley match was good, and they have good chemistry. And then at the end, I thought the same thing as you. Why, bro? If Moxley and MJF already have enough heat, they're gonna have good promos. They're gonna have a good. Why are you sticking these guys in here? And they all come out for J-Brones.
The crowd treats it like that too. They're
right,
not,
and this
not, there's no
bro,
heat,
there was no heat, which is, I'm sure they didn't expect that.
Right.
And it felt unnecessary and forced. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I thought that was very badly done.
Yeah. So next is what do we got here? So next, that was the show. That's been our AEW review.
Yeah. So basically, the show, the MJF promo was great. The FTR match I really liked. I liked the what's this guy Danielson and Sammy Guevara match. I like that. The Darby Allin promo, very good, and the Penta match was good.
Yeah. All right. So that's been our review.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Boom.